Okay, today's Monday, May 8th, and we're taking a look to start a 4 hour time frame of Bitcoin on Bitstamp with the Ichimoku Cloud. So what we're taking a look at here is we've had a pretty aggressive upswing. We've stayed above the Tenkin with a couple of touches. We came down and just touched the Kijun here, and we're starting to flatten out just a little bit. Another thing I want to show you is there was a peak gap between the top of the cloud and the bottom of the 4 hour candle at roughly $230. So there was a big gap there. And if you just grab this bar, you can see how relative this was, how it grew. This was the peak. And now we're starting to close that gap a little bit. So, there's been a lot of chatter about parabolic and going to 10K and $2,000 in a month and things like that. What would need to happen is for us to continue this uptrend is to start a price move pretty soon. It's not bad either way. Some consolidation would be fine, but we have a period of time to continue this aggressive uptrend before things kind of reset, and then we begin a new cycle. So speaking of cycles, let me flip over, and this was a parabolic curve chart that I made. This is a weekly time frame. Take this with a huge grain of salt because it's really just kind of eyeballed and a little bit more of wishful, but it's also kind of useful because if we cross over this line, that would definitely indicate that the really, really crazy rapid rise is coming to an end. Let me show you one more time frame on that might make a little more sense. So this is a 4 hour, and you can see that we've now come and touched the line. And again, this line is kind of eyeballed. It's not scientific. It's not actual TA, but it is fun to look at where the trend is. It does show we're flattening out. And, if you really want to, if you were already spending all those Bitcoins you thought you were going to, all that money you thought you were going to make when Bitcoin hit 10K, you might want to reconsider, quitting your job, because this is starting to indicate that we're going to go flatten out, maybe create a new cycle. Nothing bad, but it's no longer 10K in a week kind of a situation. Really, overall, that's a healthy thing. But let's take a look at a couple more charts for Bitcoin. I shared this last week, I believe, and it shows a Wyckoff cycle repeating. So a small Wyckoff cycle, a medium Wyckoff cycle, and then a larger Wyckoff cycle. And the next stage of this Wyckoff cycle would be markup. So, we went through our selling climax, and we would expect a markup phase. And that's exactly what we've gotten. 3 bars in a row, markup phase on a weekly chart. Now what we're going to see is, are we going to reset and have another little selling climax, and then maybe a consolidation like this area? And you can see these time frames have become compressed and the price movements have become expanded. So we're on a pretty aggressive uptrend. It'll be really interesting to see what happens, but keep an eye on, did we reset into a new cycle, or are we still in our markup phase? We should know that pretty soon in the next few days or weeks to come. One more chart I want to show. This is one I did a while ago about accumulation phase versus distribution. Again, this is part of the Wyckoff cycle. These really dramatic ups and downs would indicate accumulation in a Wyckoff cycle. And why this is significant, in my opinion, is, if you look at this chart 2 years from now, this could just be a blip. Right now, it's, current history. It's what we're dealing with. And so it seems very significant, these couple $100 changes. But if Bitcoin does reach, 10,000 or more, this is going to just look like a blip. So imagining that we're looking back in the future, what we would expect when this phase breaks is a markup. And by markup, I mean a rise in price that would break whatever's been there before. Well, take a look at what happened. Price goes right off the chart. Again, this is just loose TA, and you got to do your own interpretation. But I do like the fact that this kind of played out the way I thought it might. And the only question is, where does this trend stop in the short term? Okay, enough about that. I want to take a quick look at silver. Silver's had a rough go of it the last few weeks, as you can see. Nothing but bad news. They had a bearish TK cross up here on the Ichimoku cloud, crossed the 5200. And what's interesting is it's starting to flatten out right here. So silver might be starting to look like a bit of a buy. And I only mention it because I own some. I like to trade it occasionally, and it may look like it might be setting up for a reversal. So I have a alert about 1647. Gold hasn't had a great year either. Our last couple years, actually, going back to 2012. But it just now started to reverse. This is a weekly time frame, and as bad as this chart looks, it's actually had a bullish TK cross in the cloud. So it's still in the cloud on the weekly and potentially inside of a very new pitchfork. Not completely validated yet, but it's at the bottom of that trend. So I would expect gold and silver, maybe silver's bottomed, maybe gold's bottomed, expect them to start to rise again. If they don't, I don't know if that says anything about crypto, but it's interesting to see crypto completely, just go stratospheric, and for gold and silver to continue to fall. It's an interesting dynamic. Okay, enough about that. Let's talk about Monero. Let's start with, just candles. You can see there's, I would call this a bit of volatility, sarcastically. I was expecting Monero to bottom out around .012. And it hit 0147, made a nice recovery, and now it's just got this craziness going on. This big candle, as scary as it is actually bullish. That long wick down is a bullish indicator, loosely because of some of the other things that are on this chart. But just what I see and what I interpret is that might be bullish, reversal, continuation of the trend. So that's the raw data. The Heiken Ashi on the 4 hour, still negative, but if this can turn green a couple of candles, it might be a great entry opportunity. So you would take a look and see if we can get 3, 4, maybe 5 if you're conservative, green Heiken Ashi candles, and that might be a good place to enter. Turning this on, this is we've got the Fibonacci levels. So from the last local high to the bottom here, we've bounced around, touched, and then come back up and down, came down and up. And you can kind of see that the fibs are loosely working. Right now we're kind of towards another Fibonacci as resistance. And we're also in a Ganfan trend line, which is very loosely drawn. I'd like to see Monero stay in between this white line and this blue zone up here. Maybe if it could establish a new bull trend and maybe use this middle line as your guide, put a target out here, 2-1 by the end of the month. Yeah, that's kind of, for an altcoin, not too aggressive. And then put your stop on one of these Fibonacci levels. I like Monero personally, so I'd like to cover it. I'm bullish on it. It got a bad rap and it's been recovering. So, loosely, that's what I would say about Monero. Let's just take a quick look at the cloud. Yeah, this volatility is going to mess the cloud up for a little while. It's going to have to work itself out and recalibrate. This kind of volatility really puts the cloud in a weird spot. But you can see that it's turned green, heading up. TK crosses. Once this settles down and we can get a few green candles in a row, then you can start to maybe see us, make a move up. It's definitely come off this downtrend. It's above the cloud now, worked itself out, tested support one more time, and now we're establishing something new. So overall, bullish on Monero. I wouldn't put my life savings into it, but at least it's not going down anymore. Okay, guys, look, thanks for watching. Subscribe, comment. Always love to get a comment. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, and I'll make another video soon. Thanks for watching.